the first thing that you are going to do is look at the papers at your table. Okay, so these are some different patterns found around Africa on different things such as fabrics, pottery. This says carvings, buildings, and basket work. So if you read about it, several of the pages have information. So this says woven rugs and blankets. It says craft people weave woolen rugs and blankets. Some have simple blocks of color or stripes, while others are covered in intricate geometric and floral patterns. So you can see the different patterns on here. So you are going to block off a border on your project. You can see I've already done this. I'm going to show you a really simple way to do it. You're going to have a pencil and you're going to have a ruler. And I've already done this, but I am going to show you how I did this. So what I did was I placed my ruler right along the edge here. So I took it and I lined it up very evenly with the edge, held it down. I'm holding it down tightly. Then I took my pencil and lightly traced that line. Okay, so you can see that line I just drew. Then I took my ruler again because this is not really a thick enough border to do with the pattern, so I wanted to make it double this thick. So I'm going to take my ruler and now I'm going to line it up very easily with the line that I just drew. Hold it down so the ruler doesn't move, and I drew that line. So you can see that. I did that on all four sides, so it's hard to see it here, but you can see there's the first line, there's the second line. This gives me, if I measure it, it gives me a little over a 2-inch border all the way around. So this is plenty big enough for my pattern. So when we do our picture next week, it's just going to fill within this space. So it's going to be in a small space. Okay. Next, you are going to decide which pattern you want to use. You should pick one and stick with it for your entire border. So look, and if you want to share with someone, there's plenty of pages for every person in your group to have a page to look at. But some are more detailed than others. So like this right here is pretty simple. If you need a simple one, this one's not too terribly hard right here with the cross. There are a few that look pretty easy, like this one right here doesn't look too terribly hard. But what I want you to do is draw it out with pencil. Try to make it look really nice and even. We don't have but one painted piece of paper, so whatever you do on here is what yours is going to look like, and you need to finish it in today's class period. So you can draw it with pencil first. Use this as a guideline, like right here where I've drawn my line here, and my line here, and my line here, and my line here. I don't know if you can see it, but there's 4 squares, so I could use this as a guideline. So I'm going to draw a little bit, and then I'm going to show you what mine looks like. And then when you're finished drawing it in pencil, you're going to take a Sharpie and outline it. So you should have a nice, bold pattern border all the way around your paper. So I'm going to work on mine, and then I will show you what it looks like. Okay, so I've been working, and I really liked this pattern, which is right here. And I was going to do that all the way around my border, but it's taking me a long time. So I'm glad I did the corners first. So whatever you choose, try to do your corners first. So now what I'm going to do is I also like this little squiggly pattern right here, and it looks like it will take a lot less time. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to just do the first 2 rows. So I'm going to do this and this. I'm not doing that bottom, the third one, because I don't have room, so I'm just going to do the 2 here, and I'll show you what it looks like. But I had to pick something. You need to watch your time because I do want you to finish this today, your border. So I had to pick something that was going to be easier to go through here. So it's going to be important. Start with your corners, check out your time, and do something more simple here if you don't have enough time to do what you did in the corners all the way around. Okay, I'll show you this in a second. Okay, so I am finished with my border. If you run out of time and you've done your 4 corners and you're running way out of time, you could just maybe outline your lines and don't do anything else. Just kind of leave it just the line. So you see I had this thick line here, this middle thick line, and then it's hard to tell, but I actually drew the line at the very bottom as well. So you could do that if you run out of time. So it's okay if you use up to like 2 patterns, but don't do a whole bunch of different ones. We want it to look symmetrical, so same on both sides. So this side is the same as this side, and if we flip it this way, this side is the same as this side. Now, next week we will be adding a picture in here. So you will have some stencils to trace, and you will be able to draw like a tree if you want, but your picture will just be in this small section. So a lot of your piece of art is this border that shows these African patterns. So I can't wait to see which ones you choose. Take your time on this. If we need a little bit more time next week to finish these borders, that will be fine. This is kind of like the main thing of your art though, and this is what's going to wow everybody. So come up with really cool design. Look at the papers that I provided for you. Find one that you really like and spend some time figuring out how to draw it. I can give you some scrap paper if you need it, but figure out how to draw it and then draw it with pencil and then get it on your paper in Sharpie.